I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. All right, here we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reyes Reflection podcast. Check me out those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes, per usual, sharing those partners, ARAVE cards, Jocko fuel, SMACKIN sunflower seeds, and Mad Rabbit tattoo aftercare. Head over to my Linktree for exclusive deals on those sites. Picture this. You're hired to clean an apartment, and then after hours of doing all the hard work, you realize you've been working on the wrong apartment. That is the viral moment that happened to my guest. It garnered so much attention that individuals like Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon brought it up on their shows. But then there's more to him than just this viral moment. His journey is about personal growth by overcoming alcoholism with 2 years of sobriety, which is no small feat. My guest today has a way of facing your trials head on, reflecting on them, the Reyes Reflection, embracing your true self, and coming out better on the other end. So sit back and let this conversation tantalize you. So without further ado, I am glad and privileged to welcome my friend, Louie Angelino. Welcome to the pod.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for doing this again. I know so let me pull the curtain back a little bit for the audience. So I reached out to him. I emailed him first, then I DM'd him, and I think I messaged him on TikTok too. I was trying to get Louie on the pod. So I was doing everything I could to go ahead and get Louie on the show because I wanted to talk about that viral moment, which is the first thing that I discovered him. And then I learned a little bit more about him. But I just wanted people to know that, like, Louie and I have been talking for almost a month at this point.
A month now. Yeah.
Yes. And so I feel like we're very well acclimated with one another at this point. Time is the best asset. Thank you for yours again. Louie, let's take it back from the beginning. Can you talk to me about how you grew up, what your childhood was like, all that stuff?
Growing up, all right, so spoiler, growing up gay, I knew I was gay when I was like 3 years old. I come from a very like Catholic-based Italian family. That family, I love my family to death. I really do. But growing up was not the easiest for me because I was not like my cousins, my male cousins. I wasn't really into sports when I was a kid, and just your typical boy stuff. Like I wasn't really my vibe. And growing up gay was confusing because I wanted to be like the straight boys, but I couldn't relate to them. And then I wanted to be like the girls and be friends with the girls, but I really couldn't relate to them because I wasn't a girl. So that was basically growing up gay for me in a nutshell. And then I came out when I was 20 years old. Something that really helped me while I was in the closet was competitive cheerleading. It was the one thing that I did where I wasn't in my head about, oh, am I doing this? Is this too gay? Is this that? Whatever. Like I was always in my head. Mind you, like, girl, I was cheerleading. It's the gayest thing a guy could do. So
I don't know about that. Is it? I mean, I feel like personally,
there's parts with all-star cheerleading. It can be very, very feminine based, but there are very male based. Like, because with co-ed stunning, that is like one guy, one girl, like toss the hands, that whole thing. Those guys are normally like huge meatheads and very straight.
I was gonna say, as a straight man, I find that if I was young and could put my hand on a girl's ass and it be okay and not get in trouble for it,
exactly.
I totally would be on board with that.
That is the thing that I've been saying is that like my whole childhood growing up when I would cheer, they would be like, "Oh, that's gay." I'm like, "Really? You play football and you tackle grown men and grab their body parts, and meanwhile I have both hands under a perfect butt cheek. I mean, it's a straight guy's dream. It's literally a straight guy's dream.
I mean, I played sports, and I sit here and I'm like, man, I should have done that as a heterosexual man. I'm like,
Yes,
man, I should have done that. But
exactly.
all jokes. All jokes. I'm 30. I'm 31. I don't need to do that now. I'm good.
No,
We're talking
no.
about prepubescent
Yeah,
when
we're
we're
talking
all
about
trying.
like high
Yeah.
school, like just going into puberty, all that good
Yes.
stuff.
When the hormones are raging, you know what I mean? They're going all.
Yes.
They're up here. They're down here. Yes.
Yeah, meanwhile, I had to try to hide other things from my male teammates that I was attracted to, which was so much fun being in the closet. Don't be in the closet, guys. No, none of that. It's 2025. There's no reason for any of us to be in a closet at all.
So I want to bring it back to you for a second. Thank you for that advice. So I want to bring it back to you. So you came out at 20.
Yes.
So as we were just teasing and joking about, our prepubescent years and all that
Yes.
stuff, on a serious note, how challenging was it for Louie to really be in that mind frame and in that closet where you know clearly what you want, but you don't want to share it because of social paradigms or whatever?
So basically, like I said, I knew when I was 3. Okay. I knew when I was like 3 years old. I didn't know what gay was, but I knew I wasn't like all the other boys, period. Like, I just knew that there was something different about me. And then as I got older, we did have the internet. Granted, it was a big box, but it was still the internet. And, you know, like most kids that grow up gay, you're very curious and you go on Google and you type in questions. And that's where I learned about what homosexuality was. And I knew in that moment that I was. And I knew that it was a problem and that it wasn't okay for the time being that it was at the time.
Did you think you
Um,
were like wrong or doing something wrong?
yeah, I used to
Mm.
literally go to bed every night and be like, "You're a guy, you like girls, you're a guy, you like girls, you're a guy, you like girls," over
Wow.
and over and over and over again. And
Damn.
then, like, when you're going through puberty and, like, you have like your first, not to be TMI, but like your first like erection or your first wet dream or something like that. And like I woke up and I remember my first one and it was literally with a guy. And I woke up and I was like, fuck, like, no, like
Yeah.
this is literally confirmation that I am. And from that point on, it was just like, okay, how do we hide this? How do we go about like navigating under the radar so nobody suspects anything?
Mm.
And I wasn't really good at that. Like I said, I wasn't really I was athletic. I've always been athletic, but I was not your Letterman jacket sport kind of guy. I hated basketball. I was terrified of baseball. Soccer, I played for 10 years, but I was sick and tired of running up and down a field chasing a ball that felt
Yeah.
so pointless to me. Um Sports just wasn't my thing. I was a skateboarder when I grew up. I was a skater boy. Shout out to
Oh
Avril
shit.
Lavigne, the OG.
Yeah.
I loved skateboarding. Skateboarding was like my thing. I was very much like an emo kid. Shopped at Hot Topic, wore um the black rubber spike bracelets
What is it?
with,
Hurley,
yeah,
Vans, all those
all that
brands.
good stuff.
Yes, yes. I
All that
remember
good
the I love boobies. Remember
Yes,
that?
the I love boobies.
Yes,
Yes. The
yes.
Supras, the Monster, all that meme shit that goes on
Your typical
now.
skater boy, huh?
Yeah, your typical skater boy. I really was your typical skater boy.
It's kind of funny
Um,
because I don't see that in you now. But I mean, obviously you've evolved.
bro, give
But
me a board. Give me a board.
yeah,
I can
you could
bust out.
shred still.
I can bust out kick flips, heel flips, burials,
Dude, that was always something I could never get into, man. I could never get
skateboarding.
into. I don't know what. Well, first of all, I had fucking terrible ankles. My ankles would roll at the
Ah,
easiest things. My ankles, they're like paper thin. They roll at like sometimes when I'm walking and like there's a little divot in the
yeah,
ground,
yeah,
and all
yeah.
of a sudden it feels weird, and I'm like, ooh. So firstly, I probably would have fucking busted my ass
Yeah.
several
I was
thousand
in and out of
times.
the ER a lot.
Yes, yes. We grew up in an interesting time where,
The 90s were weird.
yeah, but we so skateboarding, that was like BMX, TJ Lavin, like a bunch of all these people. Like,
Yes. Rob
I
Dyrdek,
yeah, I remember in the summer there'd be
Bam
like the
Margera.
BMX games, and I would be so enamored by watching that. I would be thrilled to watch it, even though I had no interest in ever really getting on a skateboard or a bike like that. It was like deemed as like you were a rebel
Oh
almost
hell yeah.
to
It
do
was
that.
definitely
Yes.
it was definitely a rebel thing to be like a skateboarder or a BMXer, because in a way it's like a lot of times you're skating on property you're not allowed to be skating
Yeah.
on. So a
Yes.
lot of running from the cops, a lot of running from security guards. I mean, I grew up playing
That's
Tony
funny.
Hawk Pro Skater like all the time. So
Yep.
like when you would in the game have to like run away from the cops or like the security guard, like I lived that life. I
Oh
did that.
shit! So you had to do that in
Yeah.
the video game? Oh damn! I never knew
Yes.
that. I never played those games. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't in the skateboarding scene, but I had
Mm,
a lot of friends that were, and I do know like like I said, the rebellious,
yeah.
yeah. Did I say that right?
Rebellious.
Thank you. You know what, my friend. Thank you. It's still early. I hadn't had my coffee yet. The
Yeah.
rebellious attitude of my friends, where they, like you said, they would be skateboarding or riding bikes through people's lawns,
Yep.
and then somebody's yelling at them, and then they got to run away, and then they run away by like jumping over a fence. It's crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
It was a wild time, but that's what your childhood's supposed to be.
yeah. Of course,
Otherwise, it's
yes.
boring and it's not fun. And who wants that?
I saw something one time that said, "Did you have a normal childhood or were you hilarious?" And I
Yeah.
feel like that's so true. If you don't
Yep.
have a crazy childhood with all these stories,
Stories.
then I mean, I would prefer being able to talk to people and say, listen, I had a mom who was a crazy Hispanic woman that would beat the shit out of me if I acted out of line. I'm fine sharing that
Yeah.
because to me, I find it funny rather
Yeah.
than, hey, I was in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock every night. Dinner was at 5. Like
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in that life. So I love to be able to relate to people and be like, oh, you have a crazy mom. I have a crazy mom. Well, let's share stories about how crazy our mom is when she tried to
Yeah.
throw the sandal. Let's relate over these things.
Oh my God.
Let's switch gears now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the viral story where
Yes.
you were hired to clean an apartment in New Jersey
Hmm.
and things did not go well. They were very unexpected. Talk me through that day because there's also some things that you got covered
Yes.
in terms of the news, but the news doesn't always get the information
No,
right.
they don't always tell the whole story.
Yeah, so let's hear from the source, from the person who was actually in that apartment that had the viral moment. Walk me through that day.
All right. So that day, God, this is why you don't do a lot of drugs and drink alcohol, people, because you don't have a memory afterwards. Because I don't remember. I know it was 2021. I don't remember the day. It's terrible. I should remember that day, but I don't remember that day because I was probably hungover when I woke up. But anyway, that day I got a text from one of the guys that lived in the building that I was living in. He told me that he saw the TikTok that I did for his apartment, the before and after that I did for his apartment, showed it to his coworker. His coworker hit him up and said, "I want this kid to clean my place." So he sends me his number. I contact him. We're texting. He sends me the address. Now, I don't know if it's ADHD, ADD, dyslexia, whatever the fuck is wrong with me, but I went to the wrong apartment. I got my numbers. It was like a 4-digit number, and the last 2 digits I got mixed up.
Oh shit, you switched them.
So I go there, I pull up. It's, where was I? I think I was in Haddonfield, New Jersey, or like Haddon Township, New Jersey, something like that. Um, and I pull up, I go there, I check my text messages. The guy said that there would be a key under the mat. So I go there, I like walk up to the door that I think that is supposed to be the door. I look under the mat. there's a key under the mat. So I'm like, okay, bet. So I go in. The place was like, you walked in, it was this huge hallway. It was one of those like townhouses, so like the 2 stories, and it had like a spiral staircase that like went up, and there was like a loft, and then there were like bedrooms to the left when you first walked into the hallway. But it was a pretty big place.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, there were boxes everywhere. And that was kind of like my first red flag to be like, why are there boxes everywhere? But I was like, no, no, no. Just clean, just do what you were hired to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So I
You
did.
think you're just hired. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did. 2.5 hours later, mind you, I wish that I could get my hands on, if these people had cameras in their house, I put on a full production when I was cleaning. Okay. I jam out when I clean. So, like, when I'm home alone, or if I'm in your house and you hire me to clean, I'm like alone. I'm putting on a whole Taylor Swift concert, probably. Like, I'm living my best life when I clean. So I wish I could get my hands on their camera footage if they had cameras. That would have been so funny. But 2.5 hours go by and I'm done. And I get a call from the guy that I was cleaning for. And he's like, Louie, he's like, you coming today to clean? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, I'm on your couch right now with your cat. I just got done cleaning your place like 2.5 hours. You told me you were on at the gym. Like, you having a good session? Like 2.5 hours, that's a long time to be in the gym. Like, you on your way home yet? And he's like, Louie, I don't have a cat. Bro, what the fuck? What do you mean you don't have a cat? Whose goddamn house am I in? What? So I freak out and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I gotta go. 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 So I like grab all my stuff. I dip out of there, lock up the place, put the key back under the mat. Turns out his building that I was supposed to be at was around the corner. That's where the numbers got flipped up or mixed up, and it was around the corner. So I go there, clean his place. He's like, I'm gonna like leave them a note explaining like what happened. So then I clean his place. I'm driving home. I'm cracking the fuck up. And I'm like calling everybody I know. And everybody's like, you did not just do that. You did not just do that. Lois, you could go to jail. That's breaking and entering. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, but I didn't steal anything. I just cleaned the apartment. And they're like, doesn't matter. You're not allowed. You weren't supposed to be in there. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, this is like 2021. So TikTok's been around for like a year. I'm already fully invested in like on my content creation influencer journey. And I was like, I have to talk about this. So I did a story time. I was very quick, very like to the point. Like, I think it was less than 30 seconds. It was a very quick video.
Yeah.
This video, when I tell you, I swear it broke the algorithm. Like, I would refresh. You know, like, okay, this is the real tea. If you're a TikToker and you post a video, chances are you're refreshing that motherfucker as many times as you can to see and check to see what your views are doing. And if they're changing, if they're changing, if they're changing. It wouldn't stop. It literally wouldn't stop. It just kept going up and up and up to the point where I was like, all right, this is an hour of refreshing. I was like, I'm good. Whatever happens, happens at this point.
Yeah.
Went to work. Like a week goes by, still gaining traction, still gaining views, like crazy. I was working at a liquor store at the time, and there were people calling into the liquor store to try to get a hold of me to hire me to clean houses. I
No
was
shit.
driving, yeah, I was driving to work in the morning and I turned on Q102. If you live in South Jersey, you listen to Q102 or like 96.5 because that's like today's hits. And I love Elvis Duran so much. And to be driving to my 10-minute commute to work, and the first thing I hear is my name on the radio come out of Elvis Duran's mouth. Mind blown. Mind blown. And then like the Jimmy Fallon segment came out. Then I got the interview, or I got the email. I got two emails. I got an email about Drew Barrymore, and then I got an email about the Kelly Clarkson show. And I had to choose between both. I wasn't allowed to do both. I hate that I wasn't allowed to do both because I would have loved to meet Kelly, but it's okay. I chose Drew because Drew was the first person that reached out. They were the first
Mm,
people that reached out. Kelly Clarkson was after the fact, and I had already said yes to Drew, so I wasn't going to be like, no thanks. I'm going to go meet Kelly Clarkson.
right.
Um because that's just not how I roll, but would have loved to meet Kelly. I think she's amazing, but Drew Barrymore, when I met Drew Barrymore, it kind of sucks because it was still very much COVID like times, and I see her interviews now and it's like they're on the couch together and she's touching them and like they're so like close and intimate. And I would have loved to have that experience with Drew, but even just sitting a couple feet across from her, she is the warmest, most genuine, nicest human, like angel on earth, literal angel on earth. And she inspires me so, so, so much because of her battle with addiction and her very much being a party girl when she broke into the scene, being an actress and an entertainer, and like she's gone through so much with her addiction, and she came out stronger on the other end, and she's sober now, and she just doesn't drink alcohol. And I totally get that because I was the same way. Like if I'm gonna drink, I'm not just gonna have a glass of wine. I'm gonna have like 3 bottles. Like,
Yeah.
let's get the party going. What's the whole point? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of one glass of wine? But that's just a trait that I have that I was not ready to admit or confront myself about.
Yeah.
And when I went viral, I was still very much that party boy. That's why I changed my name from Stay Screwy just to Louie Angelino, because Screwy was my alter ego. He was my party alter ego, my drunk alter ego. Um, and Screwy did a lot of stuff that Louie wouldn't do. So that's why we killed Screwy, and he's dead now. R.I.P. Screwy Louie. Thank you for your time, but you're good. Um, so yeah, I mean, during that time, my priorities weren't really, they weren't set right. They weren't like, I didn't have everything together, and my alcoholism was at an all-time high. Like
Mhm.
I had my own apartment. I was living with my roommate. My best friend lived across the hall from me. It was just like, it was perfect until it wasn't. And I really want to touch base on who I lived with at the time, because who I lived with at the time, those people became like my family when I was living in Barrington. And the thing is that, I mean, you fight with your family, right? Everybody
All the
fights with their
time.
family all the
Everybody
time.
does.
Of
Yeah.
course you do.
Yeah.
And my thing is that I wasn't making the right choices, and I really wasn't taking care of myself.
Mm.
So these people that were in my life, my roommate and my best friend that lived across the hall, became like, they took on like a parental role that they were never responsible for doing. And like that's where I just posted my TikTok this morning talking about accountability. And that's something I really reflected on, no pun intended.
Don't you love
Um
it? Like the Reyes Reflection.
the
That's why I
Reyes
named it this.
Reflection, it's perfect. It's perfect. This is literally
Yes.
perfect because this is what we're doing. We're reflecting and we're growing and learning and becoming better human beings. But I learned in therapy that about accountability, and I reflected and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Those people weren't toxic. They really weren't toxic people. Granted, you know, everybody's different, and some people are more blunt than others. Some people are a little bit more harsh than others, and
Yeah.
they definitely were. but their heart was in the right place. They might not have always said the right words or it came out the right way, but their heart was always in the right place. And I think
Yes.
the reason why they treated me the way that they did is because it came from a level of frustration, right?
Mm.
I wasn't good at respecting space when people needed it. I wasn't good at respecting boundaries when people asked for them. And on top of that, I wasn't being responsible. I wasn't owning up to my own mistakes, and I was being extremely lazy. The only thing that I wanted to do was drink all day and get high. That was it. That's all I really wanted to do. And in the beginning, that's all we did when I first moved into the building. It was one big party atmosphere, but like the party gets old after a while, and that's what happened. And my friends were really trying to better their lives and make something of themselves. My roommate was trying to hold down her job, and I got fired, and my best friend across the hall just got a promotion, and he was doing really, really well. Um, and when I got fired, I essentially got kicked out because my roommate was like so mad, and she was like, I just need space from you. And that space turned into me going to my mom's where I'm at now in Sicklerville. But in that moment, I was so hurt and upset and frustrated with the things that they were saying to me and the way that I felt like I was being treated and the way they made me feel about myself, that I thought that the only thing that I could do to let go of all of this and move on was to block them on
Mm.
everything. And I did. Um, and it's been a year since I did that. And if they ever see this or hear this or whatever, I just want to say that I'm sorry for being the unreasonable a-hole that I was. Um, you guys aren't toxic people. And at the end of the day, someone once told me that come and talk to me when you're done putting all the blame on everyone else and you start to look inward. And I'm really, really tempted to reach out to them. I don't know if I'm going to write them a letter or if I'm just going to unblock them and send them a group message, but I feel as though that I need my closure.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're going to be best friends again,
No.
but man, when I tell you I have so many pictures and videos and memories with these people, it's been a year and I can't find it in myself to delete everything. I just
No.
can't do it and I don't want to do it. And at the end of the day, like, I'm very grateful for the experience that I had in Barrington because it was the first time I was really on my own, and it taught me what comes with that when you decide to move out and you do have your own place and the responsibilities that come with that. And it sucks, but I mean, I guess late to the party, but I'm a late bloomer. I'm very much a late bloomer. And at the end of the day, like, better late than never, right?
Yeah. Can I give you
That's
some advice?
yes, please.
Do it. Do
Can
it.
you?
I would reach out to them. And like you said, it doesn't mean that you are all going to go back to where you were, but to be able to do that for you. And the reason why I encourage you to do it is because you have to be able to take control of the path that you want. You take control. Don't leave it up for subjection or somebody else to misinterpret. You take it. Take it by the reins and really go for it. You got to look at somebody's motive or their intentions. And I say that as advice, not just to you, but to anybody who listens to this episode, is that sometimes we may not like how a person says something, which is valid, right? Like if somebody says, "You stupid bitch, you shouldn't be doing that." Are we really gonna like being called a stupid bitch? Probably not. I would I would bet all the money that I have that nobody sits here and goes, "I love being called that." But I try my best in life to not look at it from an emotional standpoint and take a step back, which is hard. It is hard. It's
Yep.
almost a conscious effort. You need to
Yes.
consciously be like, don't be emotional with this situation. Take a step back. And the reason why I do that is because, for example, if I was doing something, let's say I was upsetting you, and you said, Nathaniel, you're behaving like a jackass. I don't appreciate it. Now, the emotional side could be, oh, fuck Louie. He called me a jackass, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm getting so caught up on that instead of the fact that I am mistreating you. You see what I mean? Like, yes,
Yes.
did you say it correctly? No. But the message is that I'm not treating you correctly, or I'm
Yeah.
hurting you, or I'm doing something you don't like. It's almost like that sandwich approach, right? Like, we look at it and we look at the top layer and we look at the bottom layer, but we don't look at anything in between, because it's almost like we have these buzzwords that once we hear, we get so fixated on just that word that somebody said to us that offended us, that we're not looking at the message. And you also have to look at who the person is, right? Why I say that is because if somebody who doesn't really mean that much to me is just saying to me, hey, listen, I don't really like you, or I don't like what you do, that's not really going to hold weight. But if someone who I care about, which it seems like these people, you genuinely cared about them,
Yes.
that if they do, then clearly they're doing it for a reason, right?
Hmm.
Otherwise, they would just, if they didn't care about you, they would tell you to piss off.
Hmm.
So, my advice to you or anybody else who's in a situation, take control. You do it, because I find it's more freeing when you take control and you go ahead and you get the ball rolling, as opposed of allowing somebody else to do it. Because once you allow somebody else to do it, that ball can get rolling in a way that you don't want it to, and now you can't stop it.
Yes.
So if I were you, I'd go ahead and do it
Do
just
you
for the
think
closure.
I should write the letter, or do you think I should? Okay, three options. Should I
Yes.
write two separate letters? Should I do both of them in a group chat together, or two
Hmm.
separate text messages?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I'm old fashioned, so I'm gonna say a letter
A letter.
because I'm old fashioned. So
Yeah.
and the reason why I say old fashioned is just because for me, right? If you wrote me a letter, hey Nathaniel, appreciate you, blah blah blah, that's gonna mean a lot to me, because I'm like, wow, Louis took the time to sit and write this letter down for me,
Yeah.
right? So, but that's me. I'm old fashioned, but I think just to break the ice, I don't see the harm in a text. I personally don't think you can go wrong either way. But if I were you, I would definitely do it, just because I think it would allow you to start the closure.
Yeah. I
Because, and
need
here's the
it,
thing,
man.
if you don't get a text back, you don't get a letter back, you don't get a message back, then you at least know that you did everything you could. And it's up
Well,
to them.
the thing is, the reason what sparked all of this is that, I mean, like I said, it's basically 1 year anniversary of since I moved out of Barrington. But what I found out from my little brother through my stepmom is that my best friend that lived across the hall and my old roommate have been, throughout the year, they've been calling my stepmom and my dad and checking in on them and asking about how my brothers are doing, and asking them about how I'm doing and wishing that I'm doing well. So I didn't really expect to get that kind of news.
Yeah.
And that really changed everything for me, because it's like, wow, they do still care. And like,
Yeah, and then you're able
no,
to realize that they cared from the beginning, right? Like I
exactly.
said, you know, no one, not everyone handles every situation perfectly, right? And again, myself included. So I think it's the best thing for you, man, for that closure, because they truly did care about you. They clearly still do. Otherwise, they would just be like, all right, well, fuck Louis then. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to go ahead and have a conversation with him, or I don't need to care about him. So the fact that they're doing that shows that they do care. So I I just want to say thank you for sharing that personally. Like, I know it's not easy to share personal stuff, but here on the Reyes Reflection, I don't judge. I listen to everybody's stories. That's one of the reasons why I love this podcast. Whether this podcast gets 5,000 views, 5 views, I don't care. The fact that you were able to share that and that we were able to have this moment means a lot to me. So thank you so much for doing that.
It's an honor to be on the pod,
Yeah,
and you're such a vibe, and you're so easy to talk to. And like, if you can get on the Reyes Reflection, like, take the opportunity. Like,
I
if
appreciate
Nathanael
it.
reaches out to you, like, hit that reply button. I'm telling you, because you're in for it. The pod is honestly it's so therapeutic, and you just feel I just feel relieved after being able to get that off my chest. And I really hope that they see this or that they hear this, and I'm definitely going to go and make the step about writing the letter.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that today. Um, However, there are some good news that we have right now, because I have
Let's
been
hear it.
unemployed for a hot minute, other than just the cheerleading, which the cheerleading's great, but at the end of the day, the cheerleading does not pay the bills. The cheerleading helps my mental health. Okay? It's good for that. My neighbor, I'm going to lose it. Do you hear this? You hear this, right?
Oh, the
The
hammering or
banging, the
whatever? Yeah.
hammering
Yeah.
that they just moved in. I'm going to get a broom in like 2 seconds and drill it into the ceiling.
I want to say this. I'm going to clip out that part where you say, if
Yeah.
you get a message from Nathaniel, you better reply. I'm clipping that little part there because I
Yes.
appreciate that. That's
Good, of
a
course.
that's a very great endorsement. I pride myself on having these authentic conversations and being able to have individuals who say this was the best pod I've ever done, the best interview I've ever done, just because how disarming you are and how easy you are to talk to. So I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, I
Of
do.
course.
I do.
Of course. But I got a job at Walgreens in the pharmacy. I'm
Nice.
going to be working there full time, and I'm basically going to train. After 90 days, we get a raise. There's a year review. If there's a year review after those 90 days, there's another raise. And then when that 90 days comes up, you can qualify to take a test to get your certification and potentially earn more money in your check, or your overall hourly. So this is very good. I'm going into this job differently because I've had many jobs, but in the past, I was also drunk, and I was drinking all the time, and I was partying all the time, and my priorities were all fucked up, right? So this time going into this, we're 2 years sober from alcohol, and we don't party anymore. So, like, what could I possibly do to fuck this up? You know? Like, go in there with a clear head, be on time, pay attention, do what you're asked to do, and like, I can do this. Like, I can do this. But for the first time in my life, I finally believe in myself because of my therapy and my sobriety.
Yeah.
It's like those two are like hand in hand of like what really, really grounds me today and like keeps me going, because I know that the situation that I'm in is only going to change if I change it.
Yes.
Nobody else can make it work for me.
Take that
I
control.
I'm taking the control. I'm the
Yes.
one that has to take control of the situation I'm in. And I have all the motivation in the world to do that, because I have the best boyfriend on the planet. Robert Crothers, aka Robbie, is literally the love of my life. And when I moved out and all those things happened, you know, I closed one door, but I opened another one, and I opened a door that I had no clue even existed.
Mm.
Robbie is the most supportive, loving, funny, just overall best person I've ever met in my entire life. And it's an honor and a privilege to call him my boyfriend, and to know that he's in love with me. Like, blows my mind. He's just amazing. Robbie
That's awesome.
um is a drag performer, and through meeting Robbie, I got to explore about drag. And Robbie keeps his beard. Okay? Robbie keeps his beard, but Robbie pulls it off. I don't know what it is about Robbie, but he just pulls it off. Like, he can mesh like the feminine and masculine, and I didn't really like the way that I looked. And when you don't like the way that you look, you don't like the way that you feel. I had a lot of fun, but I had no idea how much work and effort goes into doing drag. I did 2 performances. I did 1 drag brunch, and I did a competition for guys that have never, or people, not just guys, but people that have never done drag before. And we raised $13,000 for the Attic Youth Center in Philadelphia, which is a homeless center for LGBTQ youth, which was amazing. Um, but I learned with dating Robbie that I'm definitely a fan of drag. I am not a queen myself.
Yeah.
Even though Robbie thinks I could be, but I'm gonna leave that to Robbie. That's Robbie's thing. I'm gonna focus on killing it in the pharmacy. I'm debating. I applied to go back to school. I don't really know what yet. X-ray tech is like floating in my brain. But I still don't know if I'm gonna go back to school, because the thing is with Walgreens and the pharmacy is that they'll pay for you to do all these courses.
Yeah. I want to circle back to your struggles with alcoholism,
Yeah.
which you've been very open. Your TikTok is flooded with that now,
Mm-hmm.
in your journey to sobriety, which you quit cold turkey, which damn near is impossible for a lot of other individuals, but that shows the strength that you have and the mental fortitude that you have. So, if not for anything else, I just want to say personally, I think that that's phenomenal. I think it shows the strength and the bravery that you have to say, no, today's the day I'm going to fucking stop, and you
Thank you
stop.
so much. Thank you so
But
much.
when you first started making content, a
Oh.
lot of it was you fucking around,
Mm-hmm.
shotgunning beers, all that bullshit.
Yep.
And now you're almost preaching how sobriety is the best path to life, and how you think with a clear head, and how
Mm-hmm.
you can live a much more fulfilling life. How challenging is it to have this dichotomy where when you first started, it was all about getting as drunk as possible, to now being as authentic, clean, and humble and open with these struggles? Where do you find the balance, and how are you able to navigate now the difference of content?
Yeah. So the content thing is crazy, because when I first started, like I said, it was Stay Screwy. It was very much sexualized content. It was very much drunk content. Um, I remember, I think I did like, how many tequila shots can I do in like a minute before
Yeah.
on TikTok? Like that was very much my like content.
And the
Um,
algorithm was probably pushing you because they
oh
love when
yeah.
people do that stupid shit.
Oh, the algorithm loved my Stay Screwy content. They loved it. I was getting views like crazy. I was gaining followers like crazy. And what's crazy is that I have 70,000 followers on TikTok, but my engagement hasn't been what it used to be. Now, mind you, a lot has happened. I was locked out of my account for a month. And when you're locked out of your account and you stop posting, you don't have that interaction, that engagement that you're used to, because people are like, well, where did he go? Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I had to kind of rebrand myself. And in that rebranding, when I finally admitted to myself that I was an alcoholic, I was listening to a lot of Taylor Swift. A lot of Taylor Swift. There were a lot of songs that she has that you can relate to addiction or recovery or sobriety or anything in that way. If you are somebody that is an addict, or you are somebody that is in recovery, her music is very therapeutic and very relatable. And when I was at my mom's with my sister, and I was like on my own, like doing like my own thing, not living in Barrington anymore, I started getting like really lonely, and I needed like community, and I needed to like feel like I was a part of something. And I came across Swift Steps on TikTok. And it was this girl. Shout out to Julianne Griffin, Mama Swifty. She's the best. We love her. She started Swift Steps. And
Let's
Swift
get her on the
Steps,
pod.
Yes. Oh my God, let's get her on the pod. I
All
love
three,
her.
all three of us.
All three of us on the pod. I'll tell her as soon as we get off. She would love that. But she started a group for sober Swifties and Swifties in recovery that when she went to go see Taylor at the 1989 tour, she felt like she was in a crowd of just love and just peace and being genuine and friendship. And she was like, wow, I really wish I could find other Swifties that are either in recovery or that are sober. And Swift Steps was born. And Swift Steps it is a monthly subscription. It doesn't have to be, but you do get a lot more access to like other things that the program offers if you do pay. I do pay. It's just something that I don't have a problem paying for because it's worth it to me. What I get out of it is worth the money that I pay every month for it. And it's reasonable. It's very reasonable. So if anybody is out there that is a Swiftie, if you're listening, if you're a Taylor fan like myself, if you are an addict or you think that you're in addiction, like you're dealing with problems with addiction, or if you're in recovery, or if you're it literally is any addiction. It could be alcohol, it could be anything. Anything that you're addicted to, we talk about that stuff on Zoom. There's 5 Zoom meetings a week. On top of circling back to the topic of community, uh, I found a group called Queerheaded. They're sober LGBTQIA people that live in South Jersey, which I had no clue there was a queer community, let alone a sober queer community in South Jersey. So that was really cool. They're really cool. I did a couple events with them. And then I also joined AA in Laurel Springs, New Jersey, called the Kaleidoscope Group. And I did just get my first sponsor, which I'm super hype about, ready to take on these 12 steps of
Nice.
alcoholism recovery, whatever you want to call it. I'm literally staring at my big book right now for Alcoholics Anonymous. And when it came to the content, I was just like, you know what? Like, I have to be real. I have to be genuine. I have to be transparent. And granted, it hasn't really gained a lot of attraction yet, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. You
No.
know, I'm not doing, I mean, yeah, the views are great. Obviously, who doesn't like to see their video get views, right? Obviously, everybody does. Everybody likes to respond to comments. But at the end of the day, if you're being real and you really care and you're passionate about your content and what you're talking about, eventually the right people will find you.
Yeah,
Hence you.
I agree. I agree with that, dude. Like, you know, yes. Are you going to get a lot of views being a jackass? Absolutely. But I think about you, and perhaps I'm in a different school here. Your content of you preaching about the harms of it, I find are going to have a longer lasting impact
Hmm.
than a 10-second video of you shotgunning a beer. So
Yeah.
you have a fan in life forever in me.
Oh,
The
thank you,
fact that
Nathaniel.
you are taking that brave step and explaining everything about alcoholism and just even being open, right? Like in this podcast, you said, I was an alcoholic. I think taking that first step and admitting that is so hard for a lot of people. And the fact that you go out on a public platform and you say, listen, folks, I was an alcoholic. And you're just, here's my heart on my sleeve. This is me. If you can go ahead and post something and be proud about it and be authentic and be real, then you can go to bed at night and sleep well because you're
Yes.
doing the right thing. So I'm so proud of you. Again, you have a fan and life in me forever for the work that you're doing. So always keep it up. Please,
There
please
are the
never
hearts.
stop. There that you got them. Let's switch into the burning question segment.
Let's get it.
Okay. So you know Tori Deal from the challenge?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
How do you know her?
Tori used to go to high school. So I grew up in Gloucester Township in Sicklerville. And Sicklerville is a very small town. And if you don't know Sicklerville if you don't live in South Jersey. Let's put it that way. If you live in South Jersey, you probably know Sicklerville. But Tori grew up we grew up together and we went to the same schools. And before I transferred to Ocean City, she was at the high school that I was attending. So Tori's like a local celebrity in Sicklerville, and hands down one of the most beautiful human beings inside and out. That girl has a heart of gold. Literally, she's just I mean, I used to hang out with her before she got famous, and like I haven't seen her after, but like I follow her on everything, and like her the Soul Spill, she wrote like a self-help poetry book which I highly recommend. It's so good. Um she does like she does her podcast, she does like virtual like yoga, or like right now she's on a retreat somewhere where she's doing like a virtual retreat with people. It's crazy. If I was in a better situation financially, I would have already booked that for myself. But Tori's amazing. She's great. I love her.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. She is stunning.
And she's
I
a
don't know her as a
badass on
person.
the challenge.
Yeah, but I don't know her as a person. But it's hard because it's like, when you watch TV, people can portray something that isn't
Real.
accurate.
Yeah.
Like we talked about with your news segment, right? Like
Yeah.
for you, you according to them, you had your own business, you were an
Mm,
LLC, all this other stuff, and you weren't even
no,
remotely
girl.
close to that. And so
Yep.
the point that I'm making is that, you know, I feel like it's hard to truly know a person when they're on a television show that's designed to be as cunning as possible.
Yep.
But like it's like
The editing goes crazy in
yes,
the challenge.
yes. Yeah, but I mean from all accounts, I mean from what I see from what she posts on social media, it's all self-help, improvement, being the best version of yourself, which
Yep.
hey, if you're posting that, I'm a fan. Like,
She's a
yeah.
huge role model for me. Huge
Yeah.
role model for me. Literally love that girl so much.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I'm glad. Hopefully, she sees this. I'm glad, because and I'm a fan as well. So
I
really
love the
cool stuff.
challenge. I've seen like every season of the challenge. I've watched the challenge since before it was the challenge, when it was Real World Road Rules.
So
If
did
you're an
I.
OG, you remember Real World Road Rules. Oh
Yes.
my god.
My
What a
highlight
time.
is partying on a beach with Johnny Bananas. That's my
You
highlight.
partied with Johnny
Yeah, yeah,
Bananas?
yeah. Yeah, the picture's on my Instagram. Yeah,
That's dope.
yeah. So
Wait.
after this, check it out. But yeah, him and I were partying on a beach, and
So
it was
I
just,
hated Johnny for the longest time. I was
you
like
know,
Johnny's like number one hater. And then
we're
as I got older, I was just like, you know, at the end of the day, like, at least he's real. At least he's being himself. Like, you might
yeah,
love him, you might hate him, but at the end of the day, he's genuine. And like, yeah, is he genuinely an asshole sometimes? Yes, he is. But that's what made him Johnny Bananas. And he
yeah,
is one of the best challengers, hands down, one of the best challengers. He has the stats. I think he won like 7 times. The
yeah.
only time I was really mad at him was when he stole the money from Sarah. That was fucked up. Didn't like that.
That
But
was
other
that
than that,
I still supported you, Johnny. I still
oh,
did. I still did, baby. I know.
I was so
I
mad. I remember watching that being like, no,
so
Sarah.
I remember watching that one with my family, and all my family was like, "I hate him." Blah blah blah.
Yep.
I was the only one that's like, you know what, Johnny? If I was in that boat, I think I would have done the same
The
thing.
same thing.
So,
Yeah.
but you
They
know
were
what? You know what?
beefing. They were beefing all season 2. Like
Yeah,
all season, him and Sarah were beefing.
I was also a lot younger when that came out. That was
Yeah.
about almost 10 years ago at this
Yeah, it
point.
was.
I was a lot younger. 31, 32-year-old me would probably share the money. All right.
Yes. Same.
What's one thing when you're having a bad day that cheers you up?
Honestly, I'm huge on singing competition shows. So like Idol's out right now. I love American Idol. I've seen all the seasons of that. And then The Voice.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of people from The Voice.
I love The Voice. I am
Yeah.
such a big fan. I have so many friends that like I always tell that like better singers. I'm like, you need to be on The Voice. Like you could do it, kind of thing. But I just love watching I'm a really big music guy. Like, I think music is like therapy, and when you're not having a good day or you're not feeling good about yourself, listen to your favorite song
Yeah.
and like listen to that shit on repeat until you feel better.
Yeah. I love it. What's the craziest or weirdest thing you've ever found while cleaning an apartment?
The craziest thing that I ever found cleaning an apartment had to be the Donald Trump shrine in the closet. That was weird. That lady was very nice. She was very nice to me. She paid me very well, but I did not expect to see the Donald Trump shrine
Was
in
it made
her
out of bubble
closet.
gum like in Hey Arnold?
It
Helga
wasn't like
Pataki?
Helga. It was
No.
not like Helga. Unfortunately, there was no bubble gum, but there were a lot of framed photos and posters and flags and all that other good stuff. And let's talk about that real quick. All I'm going to say is that at the end of the day, we're all different. We all
Mm,
have different views on
yep.
things. But what I don't want and what I hate seeing is division amongst people
Yeah.
because it's such a touchy subject. It's such a touchy subject. But me personally, I don't want to speak for other people, but me personally, I am not somebody that wants to let politics come in between relationships. Like, I'm just now building back my relationship with my father and my stepmom
Yep.
because of the whole election. Like, I didn't talk to them for a
Oh,
while
really?
during the election
Okay.
because my dad is so far, far, far right.
Mm,
And like he's gotten better, but like it can get to like extreme levels where like it just was like uncomfortable for me. So I was like, I need to take a step back. But at the same time, like I'm a big brother. I have a 14-year-old brother and a 12-year-old brother, and I want to be in their lives and I
yeah.
want to show them um what it's like to that's another thing that I really, really like w- w- want them to know and like hope they learn about with me being gay is that like just because you're gay doesn't mean that you have to be feminine or that you have to, you know, be like girly or whatever. Like being gay, you can be so multifaceted, right? And that's like why I love Robbie so much because he's a huge Philadelphia sports fan, but he can death drop in heels. That's amazing. That's amazing. Like duality is amazing. Um being multifaceted is amazing. And I hope that's something that they learn about that. Um just because I do my best to try to be as multifaceted as possible. Like I can do a back tuck, but I can also throw a spiral.
Yeah.
So
I love that you said that you don't want it to get involved in your relationships because it's really, really, you're right. Like, like you said, it's a touchy subject. I've interviewed people who are far left, far right, etc. And to me, I just believe that there's more that can tie us together than what separates us.
exactly.
And I think at the end of the day, everyone just wants. I think I can go ahead and list of a bunch of things. Actually, I can go ahead and list a bunch of things that tie us together more than separate us. We all want to be loved. We all want food. We all want shelter, and we all want community. Let's focus on those things as opposed to the things that separates us.
And
Because
respect.
yes, yes, right. The list is
The
very
list is long.
long, but even that, right? Like, do we all do we all agree on everything? No. Like even people who are left or right, they don't agree with every single thing. And
Yeah.
so my advice is just, you know, try your best to see the other side, see where they're coming from. Like we referenced earlier, this
Yep.
callback, see where they're coming from before you just go ahead and make a judgment on them, a snap decision. And I think unfortunately there is a lot of division and
I
there's
hate
more
it.
that there's more that bridges us together and
Yeah,
focus
there
on that
is.
bridge.
People could just sit down and have a open, honest conversation with one another. They would realize that they have more in common than they do different.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's say you're on a deserted island, and you can only bring 3 things. What are you bringing?
My phone, 100% my phone, my
Nice.
charger, because wait, crap, I'm on an island.
Yes, you can't
Is
plug it
this like
in.
Jurassic Park where there's like buildings and stuff with
No,
outlets?
no Jurassic Park.
Oh
Just
no. Okay.
this
Um.
deserted island. There's maybe one coconut tree
Oh my
that you
God.
can go in for shade, and the
My.
rest is just sand and.
All right, then that changes everything. I guess like obviously I have to have my phone, but I need like a tent and a blanket at least.
Do you? I mean, you have the coconut tree to protect you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bougie when it comes to being on islands.
Are you a camper?
No.
No.
Oh my God,
You're a
no.
you're a glamper. You're
I'm
a
a
glamper.
glamper. I am a
Yes.
glamper. Me and
Glamper.
Robbie actually went on a camping trip when we first started dating. And I'm so bougie, but I was like, Robbie, I hope you know that like if we're camping this weekend, like it better not be like a tent.
Where you shit in the ground, right?
Yeah, like I need like a palace.
Yes.
Like, I'm not kidding. Robbie dropped like over $100 on this tent, but this tent is like bigger than my room. Like
Oh, some of those
it's
tents are like fucking apartments.
dude, it's massive. It's
My mom has
massive.
one that has like 6 bedrooms. I'm like, how the fuck do you have a tent that has 6
Yup,
bedrooms?
it's insane. I know. And but we have one and like we had a really, really good, like big air mattress. So we were mad comfy. We had a space heater in there. Like we were chilling. Like
So it
I'm
was like an
very much a
apartment.
glamper, not a
Yes.
camper.
Okay. All right. So you would go phone, tent, blanket. Okay. I like
Yes.
it.
Phone,
All right.
tent, blanket.
I love how you would choose a blanket over a mattress, like an air mattress. Like,
I can sleep on the floor. I've slept on the floor mad times. Sand's actually like kind of comfortable. I've fallen asleep on the beach a bunch of times, but I'm cold all the time.
so you
So
need the blanket.
I
Yeah.
would need the blanket because I
Yes.
know it would get, I mean during the day I wouldn't need it, but like at night it would get
Yes.
cold.
What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal, I would say, would be an otter because they have community, like they have their friends, and they get to do my favorite thing to do, which I wish I could get paid to do all day long, is lay on my back and tan. That would be great. Even though I burn at first and then I tan. So I get like red, but then we get tan because I'm Italian, but obviously I didn't get the Italian skin and
Yeah.
dark hair. Well,
Like
kind of, but the red beard comes from me and my Scottish roots.
Scottish. No, oh, look at that.
Yeah,
I
I
did
found out
notice
I did the what is it? The
Ancestry.com, DNA.
Ancestry.com
Yeah.
123 and me or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out that I have a lot of Scottish in me.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Louie, thank you so much for taking time, sitting with me, chopping it up. You're forever a friend of the show. You're forever a friend of mine. Where can people find you, follow you, all that stuff, get in touch with you? Please plug yourself in.
So I am going to plug myself in on the apps that I use the most. So Facebook is just Louie Angelino. Instagram is at Louis Angelino 93. And TikTok is at Louie Angelino. All
Well,
right.
Louie, thank you
Nathaniel,
again. Yes.
dude, it's been such a great experience being on the pod. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for just being the dude that you are and being open to hear other people and hearing where they're coming from and being open to hearing their stories and allowing people to tell their stories. I think is a beautiful thing. I love what you're doing. Cannot wait to share this all over and put you on blast and like let's let's climb this social media ladder together, right?
Absolutely. And, I just some closing thoughts here with that is that I genuinely believe that truth is better than fiction. I think when you can go ahead and be authentic and true, that it's better than anything you can write. And hearing these stories is the main reason why I wanted to start this podcast. I wanted to hear people's story about how they overcame some of the biggest hurdles of their life. And so, on that note, I really, really appreciate that you took the time, that you're open and vulnerable, and that you were just so authentic with me to give this great episode. And you are forever a friend. So if you ever want to come back and shoot the shit, you're forever welcome.
You say less. You just
Yeah.
let me know. Let me know when, and I'm there.
Well, thank you so much again. That is going to do it for this episode of the Reyes Reflection podcast. Big thanks to our sponsors, ARAVE Cards, Jocko Fuel, Mad Rabbit Tattoo Afghan, SMACKIN Sunflower Seeds for supporting today's episode. And to all our listeners, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. You get a car, you get a car. I'm just kidding. I'm not there yet. Maybe someday.